Alright, in this lecture you'll learn how to make time series graphs. So we're talking about data where one of the axes, so normally the x-axis consists of dates or times. So let's say we have temperature observations for several dates, and we're going to have to plot these values along the x and y axis. I've got some nice data here. We're gonna take from this link. So it's a CSV file. You don't have to download the CSV file actually, because we will be passing it as a link directly to the read CSV method. So what we've got here is a date column and some other attributes. So you may want to plot the date along the x-axis, and then in the y-axis you want to show one of these features. Let's say this attribute, close. So I'm gonna close this. I don't need this file because I'll use a direct link. And let me create a new cell. So I'll be using again the bokeh.plotting interface here, and also import pandas. The key here is that we will be using a pandas data frame, and then we'll parse this date time column as dates, so that Python reads them as dates and actually is able to plot them in the x-axis. And then we'll be using a line glyph to plot this data. So a line glyph would be, you can use circles, triangles, etc., but you can also use lines. So you'd pass a line here, but then the size doesn't make sense because you may want to pass a line width for the line, so not size but line width. And yeah, if you execute this, you don't see circles anymore, so it's not a scatter plot now, but it's a line chart. So we'll use the same concept for building this date-time graph, time series graph. So first thing you want to do is load the CSV data inside Python. So pandas read CSV, and you can pass actually the link, this link, directly to the CSV method. So how convenient is that? And then you want to pass the parse dates parameter here, and you want to specify the name of the column where these dates are, and the name of that column was date. So if you remember from the CSV file that I opened earlier, that was date. And so once you load the data frame object, you want to create a figure object. Let's say width equals to 500 and height, let's say 500 for now. Then we check how it goes, and we can change it later. So we have the x-axis type parameter here. So what this should do is you want to make your x-axis special, so that it can read date time data types. And so to declare that you have date times, you need to pass a date time argument as a string there. So that's it. And then what you want to do is apply the line object in there. So similar to this, now you need to pass the x-axis and the y-axis. So the x-axis here should be df date, and the other axis is, let's say, close, so the close column. And let's make the line orange. And what else? Maybe a transparency of 0.5. specify where you want to save this. So under what name, HTML, time series.html, and lastly show the plot. And let's see. And something is not working, so Python is not being able to pull off the data there. Oh yeah, I need to pass the date here as a list actually. So yeah, now it looks better, but it also looks a bit squeezed. So what you can do here is you can change this to, let's say, 250, and you'll get a better graph there. Now if you want to extend it to the entire page, there's something you can do there. You can actually pass the responsive and set it to true. Let's see. So you get a bigger graph there. And of course you can zoom in to see some details there. So for May 8, you have a value of 180. You get the idea. So that concludes this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one.